It is a brand new episode of Hockey and Hounds brought to you by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live with Flyers head coach John Tortorella. I'm Jason Martinez. Torts, how was the carnival?
It's great. Met a ton of people.
Yeah.
Very busy. Great cause, obviously. Really enthusiastic fans, and I hope they had fun. We certainly did.
Does it provide the players a great opportunity to just gain perspective?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I know in my little world, when you listen, you hear so many different stories from different people. You know, when you meet them, I was with the dogs and the shelter groups, and just to listen to some people's stories, just about their life. You got to remember, we're in a sport. We're in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
There's some real life stuff going out there. It's situations like that, and you meet all different walks of life. It's certainly it's rewarding, and it's also filled with wake up. There's some other stuff going on in the world today other than winning and losing in a hockey game.
And the players can get that real, like what that pride and the passion is that the fan base has. And we've seen it this year. We've seen this migration back to kind of some old Flyer ways that needed to return. And I felt like I felt that inside the carnival with some interactions as well.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that. I think, the people that I talk to are pleased in what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That carnival, I know the people that put it together, they're always nervous. What's the best day for the carnival? Hope the team wins before the carnival, because the mood of the players and all that. We've struggled a little bit, but I don't think it affected anybody's mood, and I don't think it affected the people's mood. So that's what we do. That's what we're trying to build this team, is to build our team towards the city and the attitude of the city. And you felt that yesterday. We felt together.
Yeah, you could feel a connection, which is great. It was interesting. I had a chance to talk to Yegor Zamula yesterday, and Z told me a story about his time with Lehigh last year and just how much Artem Anisimov meant to him and to Tyson as well, and said the things that he would teach him about bouncing back after a bad shift, a bad period, or a bad game. And those veterans, I think sometimes, fans don't see that. But what those players can mean, I mean, he was talking as sincerely about Artie, and he didn't know Artie from prior.
Yeah.
But teaching him how to be a pro, and he credited a lot of what Artie taught him last year as to why he is being able to take next steps here. Veteran players, it's like a library.
Huge. I had Artie when he was a young player.
Yeah.
When I was coaching the Rangers.
And he had something to learn.
Yeah, he did. He did. And in fact, when we came here to play you guys that HBO series, that outdoor game, there's a couple of clips in there where I'm leaning hard on Artie. He did some stupid things, and the camera happened to catch the interaction. But the thing with Artie is we weren't going to bring him back. We just decided that wasn't. And we could send him home. He wanted to stay, and he was such a great teacher. And that's what you hope. Like with a Mark Stahl, it's a big reason why Mark was here, just a mentor. And hell of a lot more important words coming out of their mouths as teammates and veteran players than a coach barking at them or even trying to talk to them. The player, the teammate, that interaction is so much more important.
It's the peer-to-peer thing. And it was amazing how he said, you don't have to play fast all the time. He's telling Tyson, use your speed to bring a guy a gap up.
Let the game come to you a little bit.
Let it develop. And Artie was a guy that had a long, successful career. How is consistency developed? Because that's not something you can be more consistent. It's just not as simple as words.
Easy to say,
hard to do.
Yeah. To develop consistency, I think you have to be inconsistent. You have to go through that stage of being inconsistent. So then we can go through, as with a coaching staff and team, go through the process of, sometimes you use the word consistency, you use playing hard, being hard. You got to define that word. It's such a broad term, consistency. You go through some of the pitfalls and some of the struggles as far as a hockey team with lack of consistency. That's what gives us a chance to teach.
Yeah.
And that's where you get to a definition of consistency. We as coaches, and we always talk about, we got to be careful. We know what we feel the word means, or it could be another word we're talking about. got to make sure they understand. And I think that is very important in relaying that to the player, getting the definition down, and then going through some of the faults and some of the failures of it and getting to where we want to be.
The interesting thing about it is, as coaches, you see what a player can do at his best moments. And you go, well, damn it, I've seen it. Give it to me all the time.
I want it all the time. Yes.
But again, that's like a hard thing for a player to figure out all the elements that go into why he succeeded to a certain level to then make those daily practice.
Yeah. This is a great subject because it's one I have with players constantly, this type of conversation. I've seen it before, right? And it's easy for me to say, I need to see it more often.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you're not going to see the absolute top level all the time that you saw at one game. Frosty comes to my mind all the time when we talk about this. I see him play at a level, and I want it all the time. This is part of the reason why he's in and out of the lineup the past couple of years. But as I've got to know him and he's gotten to know me, I think I've learned a little bit too, and where, all right, Frosty, if you're not at that level, I just don't want you to fall off the cliff and play in that level. You can dip, but you can't dip when you just fall flat in your face. You may not have the best game as you had the prior game that I saw that level, but it can't fall off too much. And that's where I think he's learned, and I've learned a little bit more about him, that he's able to do that.
Yeah.
And I was stubborn with him, and we're dying for skill here on this team. We lack it.
He's got it.
Mm-hmm. I want it all the time.
Yeah.
And I've kind of gone through my coaching attitudes towards him, and I've changed a little bit because I think he's met me halfway in where he's not just awful when he's bad. It's not as good as we like sometimes, but he still made some good plays.
Yeah.
That's the give and take between a coach and a player.
I talk about this quite often. Young players that come in, sometimes they have really high ceilings, but they have very deep basements.
Yes.
And for a coach, you just want to know where that player resides at their worst and at their best, the predictability of that. And sometimes it's just bringing the basement up.
That's our job.
Yeah.
That's our job. That's the accountability part of this is you're not going to walk down the steps and hang out in the basement. You got to get back up to the floor here that we need you at. And then we'll push you, and maybe we'll get you some opportunities, and you get some confidence, and you get to the top floor. You're up in the attic and playing up there. And that's our job.
In the rare air.
Yeah, it is. It's our job to monitor that without hurting the player, without absolutely taking everything away from him because he hasn't climbed those stairs quick enough. That's the give and take. And that's evolving as a coach and understanding a particular player. And I think that's happened between Frosty and I.
It's also incumbent upon the player to recognize that he's on the basement stairs and he's walking down.
Well, there is the
we
biggest,
are taking this metaphor to its nth degree.
but there is the biggest part of coaching. A coach's job is to assess the player the way that the coach thinks he needs to be assessed if the player doesn't have the ability to assess himself.
Yeah.
I just had 2 meetings today, okay? And I'm not saying players' names or anything like that, but there's a major problem with assessment. And I had to step in today and make sure I got my point across as what my assessment is. And we've talked about the athlete and the coach. You need to empower. You need to have the conversations and empower them. Yeah, but there's sometimes the coach just needs to say, I said, enough.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you're at. This is where we see you at. Enough, or you're not going to play.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to get there. You have to get back to that kind of coaching them hard or at them.
Yeah.
Versus always empowering and having a two-way conversation.
And you can't be afraid of that because of the time of year. It doesn't matter.
We're out of time.
Yeah.
We're running out of time here.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
You and I talked in the beginning of the season about Cam York. I felt like he came into this season as an NHL player, but now
I didn't.
He needed to prove it to you.
Yes.
To me, his usage, all situations. I talked to him at the carnival, and I said, "How you feeling physically?" And he said, "I am banged up." Yeah. He's blocked a lot of shots and made a lot of sacrifice, playing a lot of minutes in the toughest league in the world. And to me, he looks like a professional now. How are you feeling about his development this season?
I think from the beginning the beginning of, I'll go back 2 years ago when we sent him down.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to pick a fight with him when we were sending him down.
You couldn't get anything from him.
I couldn't get I almost insulted him when we were sending him down because I wanted to get a ride. I wanted to fight him, not physically fight him, but I wanted to get into it.
You wouldn't fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to see something and got nothing. He went down, played this, that, the other thing. Played, came back to us. I think we held him on the right side too long last year. I think we slowed down his development a little bit last year. I didn't like him as a player at the end of the year. I wasn't sure if he was a National Hockey Leaguer. And I told Danny, I told the whole organization, he is playing left side. I want to find out what he is, and he's going to play left side.
No excuses.
No excuses. So I can put him on his natural, and that's why Sandy ended up playing right side. The biggest compliment I can give Cam York, and he's a National Hockey League player, but the biggest compliment and the biggest surprise of mine with him, I am blown away with his willingness. I tried to fight him, right? I tried to pick a fight with him, saw no jam, didn't see anything. I watch him now eating pucks,
killing plays,
no fear. Jumps in against Boston, which he didn't. He puts it on a 4-on-4, and I was wet my pants in between periods that 4-on-4, and they end up scoring. Yeah, we just don't have the bodies on our back end to lose Cam 4-on-4. But that's the biggest compliment I can pay him is I never thought he'd be this willing, and he's a willing son of a bitch. And
there's a competitor in there.
There is.
Yeah. He may disguise it well because he's a cool, chill guy.
Yeah, he's too cool for school sometimes. He just, but I watch him. I watch him when he doesn't think I'm watching him. I watch him with his teammates. He's got some jam to him. He's got some personality to him.
Yeah, he's got moxie too.
Yeah, he never has it with me. It's coming. I'm trying to have more conversations with him. I don't think he's too interested in talking to me too much, which is fine. Yeah. I'm not there to be the ice cream man with him, and. But I watch him. I have respect for him. I do, how he's gone through some of the stuff with me, and I do. I think his willingness is off the charts, and I never thought I'd see that in him. That's what worried me.
When we talked in the beginning of the season, you say, I'm afraid he's going to leave everybody wanting more.
Yeah.
But he's now earning that stature on the other side, right?
And we cannot – he's going to play a ton here. You know, as depleted we are as that blue line, he's going to play a ton. And I don't care if he's banged up. He's going back out there probably every other shift.
Yeah.
And so he's playing a ton.
Yeah, and he seems to be embracing it. Let's talk about our dog this week. There's some dogs that melt me right away. Some take a little time to get their hooks in me. They all end up getting there. But this dog, and this dog's name is August, is a mixed breed male. I think she's about 50, 60 pounds. But this dog is an absolute beauty. August arrived at the PSPCA after the animal law enforcement team rescued him. And in the first few weeks, August had struggled going into the kennels and kind of adjusting there. But as always, the staff and volunteers worked really hard to gain his trust. And now, like Cam, we see this dog on the other side. And this dog is so playful, so fun, and going to be the star of the dog park. So people got to get to see August.
The people need to know when they see the video that you have to watch the video with this dog. Loves being with other dogs.
Yep.
You can see that's a red nose there. Hey, Smitty, that's a red nose pitty. It's a mix, I guess. Boy, that looks like
she looks pure to me.
Yeah, she certainly does. But you have to watch the video, and you have to understand she is going to love other dogs. And I think that's such a inroad into getting these dogs out of the shelter.
In your experience, to me, when dogs are leaners, they're very affectionate. And this dog, August, is an absolute, when they're standing next to you and you're rubbing them behind the ears or something, they are leaning into you, almost putting you over. That's an affectionate dog.
She's a beauty. She's got the white mittens on there, and so that just the face. And look at the video, people, please. You got to watch the video. It's just fantastic, and you'll find the personality of this dog really quickly.
Yeah, if people are interested, and you should be, in adopting August, visit the PSPCA at 350 East Erie Avenue in Philadelphia any day from noon to 6:30, and bring your whole household with you. Bring your dog with as well. Make sure you have the vaccine records. Then you can host a dog meet and see if everybody is copacetic, how they get along. There'll be a little sniffing initially, a little butt sniffing, but once they make sure everybody smells good, they'll be getting after it, just like every other dogs that get along very well. So you got to go check at August, and again, watch the video. All the adoption info is at the Hockey and Hounds homepage at philadelphiaflyers.com/Hockey and Hounds. I can't think of a better dog for this time of year.
Yeah, he's not going to last long.
No.
Someone's going to grab him up. So get there quickly, guys, and take a look.
And it's that time of year too. Good weather, get outside with the dogs, get them back integrated into the dog park community. August, an absolute beauty. Again, for all the info on Hockey and Hounds, visit the homepage at philadelphiaflyers.com/Hockey and Hounds. Last thing for you, Torts. You're in the meat of the gauntlet. You're learning a lot at this time. It's been a tough start to this, but that doesn't mean that you're not learning a lot.
No. We learn every day. I more importantly, I think the players are at what level some of these teams are playing at. We got surged in Boston there, ended up losing the game. I thought we played very well up until that point. Came back and fought. But yeah, I'm not making any predictions. The thing is, I am looking a little bit at the scoreboard now with so few games left. The teams that were chasing us, they all lost their games.
They're not making up ground.
No, so we're in the playoff. We're in a playoff spot right now. I don't get too overloaded thinking about that because I just want our guys to continue to figure out what type of level of play we need to be at. And as each game goes by, the level gets higher.
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy that we're in this spot here. And I'm anxious to see how guys continue to try to grow. I've watched some guys that I'm not so sure they're going to be able to handle it. Yeah. And so this is all part of where we're at.
Yeah. Not everybody's built to handle
this
kind of situation. Torts, have a great week. Thanks for doing this.
All right, man. Be well.